The Serengeti sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the golden savanna. The air was thick with anticipation, a stillness that whispered of ancient secrets and lurking dangers. In the heart of this wild expanse, nestled between acacia trees and rocky outcrops, lay the village of Umoja. It was a place where tradition met survival, and legends were born from the whispers of the wind. Jabari, a young warrior with eyes as sharp as an eagle's and muscles honed from years of hunting, stood at the edge of the village. He was the pride of Umoja, known not just for his strength, but for his wisdom and kindness. Tonight, however, his heart was heavy with a sense of impending doom. For days, the elders had spoken of strange occurrences: cattle disappearing, crops wilting, and an eerie silence that blanketed the night. "Jabari," called out Nia, a skilled healer and Jabari's closest friend. Her voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed her fear. "The elders are gathering. They need you." Jabari nodded, his expression resolute. He followed Nia to the center of the village, where a fire crackled and popped, casting flickering shadows on the faces of the assembled elders. At their feet lay an ancient scroll, its edges tattered and worn with age. "Jabari," began Elder Kofi, his voice deep and resonant, "we have consulted the old texts and the signs are clear. The great serpent Nyoka has awakened." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Nyoka, the giant snake of legend, was said to be as long as 10 elephants and as thick as a baobab tree. It was a creature of nightmares, a being that brought destruction and despair wherever it slithered. "Our ancestors fought Nyoka and sealed it in the depths of the earth," continued Elder Kofi. "But the seal has weakened. We need a warrior brave enough to face the serpent and strong enough to protect our land." All eyes turned to Jabari. He felt the weight of their expectations, but also the fire of determination igniting within him. "I will go," he declared. "I will find Nyoka and end this threat." As Jabari prepared for his journey, Nia approached him, her brow furrowed with concern. "Take this," she said, handing him a small pouch filled with herbs and a finely crafted dagger. "The herbs will help you if you are injured, and the dagger is enchanted. It might be your only chance against Nyoka." Jabari thanked Nia, his heart swelling with gratitude. With his spear in hand and the pouch secured at his waist, he set out into the darkening savanna, guided by the pale light of the rising moon. For days, Jabari trekked across the Serengeti, facing the harsh elements and dangerous wildlife. He crossed vast plains, navigated through dense forests, and climbed treacherous mountains. Everywhere he went, he saw signs of Nyoka's presence: crushed trees, deep furrows in the earth, and the remains of unfortunate animals caught in the serpent's path. Finally, Jabari reached the entrance to a vast cave, hidden behind a waterfall that roared with the ferocity of a lion. The air here was cold and damp, and the ground was littered with bones. He took a deep breath and stepped inside, his senses alert and his grip tight on his spear. The cave was a labyrinth of tunnels, twisting and turning in all directions. Jabari moved cautiously, his footsteps echoing softly off the walls. After what felt like hours, he entered a massive chamber. In the center lay Nyoka, coiled in a mound of shimmering scales, its eyes glowing like molten gold. Nyoka's head lifted, and the serpent hissed, a sound that sent chills down Jabari's spine. "Who dares to enter my domain?" it demanded, its voice a deep, rumbling growl. "I am Jabari of Umoja," he replied, standing tall despite the fear that gnawed at his insides. "I have come to end your reign of terror." Nyoka laughed, a sinister sound that echoed through the chamber. "Foolish human. Many have tried, and many have perished. What makes you think you will succeed?" Jabari took a step forward, his spear poised to strike. "I have something they did not," he said, thinking of Nia's enchanted dagger and the strength of his ancestors that flowed through his veins. With a swift motion, Nyoka lunged at Jabari, its jaws wide open. Jabari leaped to the side, narrowly avoiding the serpent's fangs. He struck out with his spear, but Nyoka's scales were impenetrable. The serpent twisted and turned, its massive body crashing against the walls of the cave. Jabari fought with everything he had, using his agility and speed to dodge Nyoka's attacks. But he knew he couldn't keep this up forever. He needed to find a way to use the enchanted dagger. As he ducked under another swipe of Nyoka's tail, he remembered the pouch of herbs Nia had given him. An idea began to form in his mind. Taking a calculated risk, Jabari threw a handful of the herbs into Nyoka's face. The serpent recoiled, hissing in pain and fury as the herbs burned its eyes. Seizing the moment, Jabari drew the dagger and plunged it into Nyoka's side, aiming for a gap in the scales. Nyoka let out a deafening roar, thrashing wildly as the magic of the dagger took hold. Jabari was thrown across the chamber, hitting the ground hard. He struggled to his feet, his vision blurry, but he could see Nyoka writhing in agony. "Your time is over," Jabari shouted, his voice echoing through the cave. With a final desperate effort, he drove the dagger deeper into Nyoka's flesh. The serpent's movements slowed, and with one last shudder, it collapsed to the ground. Jabari stood over the fallen beast, his chest heaving with exhaustion. He had done it. Nyoka was defeated. The journey back to Umoja was long and grueling, but Jabari's heart was light. He had faced the serpent and emerged victorious. When he finally reached the village, the people greeted him with cheers and tears of joy. Nia ran to him, embracing him tightly. "You did it," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "You saved us." Jabari smiled, looking around at the faces of his friends and family. "We saved each other," he said. "Together, we are stronger than any serpent." From that day on, Jabari was celebrated as a hero, but he remained humble, always remembering the strength and support of his community. The legend of Jabari and Nyoka was told and retold, a tale of courage, friendship, and the power of unity that would inspire generations to come. And as the sun set over the Serengeti, painting the sky with hues of orange and gold, the people of Umoja knew that they could face any challenge, no matter how great, as long as they stood together.